I've often told you that I go to the Jewel twice a day, once to get stuff that we need and the other to get the stuff that I forgot. And I think it was maybe 10 years ago that I met this cashier named Mary who not only is a good cashier, but she also does counseling as you check in your groceries. She talks to you and gives you advice. And I said, Mary, you're welcome to come to church. And today, for the first time, Mary is actually here. So it's good to have you here. If you haven't seen Mary at the Jewel, you've heard Mary at the Jewel. So it's, I can't help but think of the words for the gospel today. Show a gentle attitude towards everyone. Now, how is that possible? The Lord is coming soon, so just ask God for what you need with a thankful heart. And fill your minds with those things that are good and deserve praise. Things that are pure and lovely and honorable. It's hard to keep a gentle attitude sometimes because our world can be very harsh and very tough. And there are so many divisions in our world, in our country, and sometimes you wonder how you're going to navigate through all this stuff. And that's why I'm so consumed by the sunrise. Because every day when I watch the sunrise, I pray for the hope that that peace that God talks about, that peace will someday come true, that it'll become real. So Joanne calls me on the phone, and Joanne's been around a while. She says, Don, I'm getting old. My son is 56 years old today. And I said, deal with it. And she said, well, today I was going to the grocery store. And I'm older, a senior citizen driver, and people are beeping at me and cutting me off. And I get into the grocery store, and I'm in such a bad mood. And I'm still thinking, Don wants me to be kind. He talks about kindness all the time. So she sees this young lady who had just bought some flowers. And she goes up to her. And she says, I just want to let you know, those are beautiful flowers. And it's really nice that you're getting those for somebody. I just like the colors. And the young lady said, well, thank you for making my day, because I came in here kind of crabby too. Well, Joanne gets to the checkout line, and the young lady is in front of her, and the young lady checks out her stuff. And before she leaves, she turns around, and she hands Joanne the bunch of flowers. And Joanne said, you can't do that. Those aren't mine. And she said, this morning you made my day. And now it's my turn to make yours. And I just want to give these to you. And Joanne said, I got to call Pastor Don because he probably needs a sermon idea. So thank you, Joanne. Now that's not a life changer, but it's a day changer. For a few moments in one day where she was tired and crabby and beginning to doubt, somebody showed her an act of kindness that reminded her of where the real power is. Then later that day, it was in the afternoon, we had a recital here. And really nice students and teachers, and one of the voice teachers comes in for the last performance. And she has a heavy European accent. And she comes to my office door, and she said, can I come in? And I said, okay. And she sits down and just starts to cry. And I say, just relax, just make yourself comfortable. And she says, I've been driving by your church for years. My daughter graduated from Sandburg. I've seen your church. I came here today for the concert to have my student perform, and I see the yellow and the blue flowers in the garden in front, and I see the Ukrainian flag. I come in here, the flag is on the altar. I see the signs, and I see the support you're obviously giving them. And she says, my husband and I are from Russia, and we live here in Orland Park, and we just can't believe what our homeland is doing to the people of Ukraine. I said, I can't sleep at night. I think about it all the time. I have a sister who buys hook, line, and sinker what's going on in Russia, that she thinks they're doing the right thing. She said, I just don't know what to do. And she said, it just feels good to be in a place that feels the way I do. And I said, well, just stay here, cry if you have to, and just know that I don't know what it's like for you, because yours is more personal than ours is, but we do care, and we do pray, and we won't stop giving and doing our best. And then she kind of said, well, I always knew what your church looked like on the outside. Now I know what your church feels like on the inside. And thanks for just being there. I love our country. I love our flag. I love what it stands for. And this is the week leading up to the 4th of July, and of course Sunday we're going to have a celebration of the American spirit. But as much as I love our country, I worry about our country because there are so many things splitting us apart. I remember back when I was a kid, I exaggerate. I'm so old now, I exaggerate. Just say what I say about being a kid and divide by 3, and the truth is in there somewhere. But I just remember the 4th of July parade through downtown Glen Ellen. I mean, the military was there, the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts and Little League teams and people of all ages, and it was just a simple celebration, and you could just feel people coming together. And I am afraid that to some extent we've lost a lot of that, and I pray and hope that we can get it back together. So Friday night I had a funeral at 7 o'clock, and not my favorite time to do a funeral. Not Peggy's favorite time to have me go do a funeral either. But the young man was only 49 years old, and he had a real serious debilitating disease where he had to spend most of his time at home with his parents. And I called the mom, and we talked for a long time. And I said, I'm sorry about your son. And she explained to me what he was like, just a beautiful human being. And I hung up, and then 10 minutes later, she called back. And she said, I forgot to tell you something. I said, what? I said, he was patriotic. I mean, he loved his country. He loved the flag. If you came to our house where he lived, you would see donation forms for the Wounded Warriors, for the VFW, for the American Legion. He just was a patriot. So anyway, it's about 6:30, and I'm getting ready to leave to go do the funeral. And as you know, I have a lot of my leftovers under that table there, and I had a bucket full of flags, a bucket full. And so I just take the bucket, and I put it in my car, and I brought it to the funeral home. And the funeral director goes, Don, what are you doing? I said, I really don't know. So I said, what is the opening song? And he said, it's going to be Angels Among Us by Alabama, one of the greatest songs in the history of the world. And so as they started playing the song, before I even did anything, I went in and I saw this 5-year-old here, and I said, would you take a bunch of flags? And he said, well, yeah. And I saw this other guy, he was a grizzled old guy. He had white hair and a ponytail and a bunch of tats. I said, would you take a few of these flags? He said, yeah, I will. I went up to the front where the family was, and I asked a couple of the would you mind taking a couple of flags? And I said, just pass them out. And so as we're listening to the song, Angels Among Us, they're passing out all the flags, and by the time the song was over, everybody had a flag. And there was this spirit of peace in the room. There was a sense of serenity. There was just a good feeling that kind of brought us together. And I thought of the words in today's gospel that come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Because my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And somehow the spirit of the flag and the way this young man was, you could just know that somehow, some way, that his burden would be lifted. That he would be in a kingdom that would never end. And those left behind, a little weary, a little heavy laden, but because of the spirit of what our country is and because of the kind of life that he led for 49 years, each one of us walked out of there a little bit better person because of what that flag stands for. You know, every day I look at the flag and the flag blows in the wind. May we never, ever forget what that flag really, really stands for. Amen.